Listen carefully. The Martians are coming this way. We must evacuate the city.
What if I told you that the most famous mistake in one of cinema's greatest sci-fi classics wasn't a mistake at all? For decades, audiences have pointed out the visible wires holding up the Martian war machines in 1953's The War of the Worlds. But the shocking truth is, audiences in 1953 never saw them. In this Golden Flicker special, we're counting down the top 10 incredible behind-the-scenes secrets of the film that terrified a generation and changed science fiction forever. We'll uncover why those infamous wires were once invisible, how a simple trio of electric guitars created one of the most horrifying sounds in movie history, and why the film's director wasn't even on set for its most iconic scenes.
They're out to the plane with their rain! Jump for him!
Released in 1953 and produced by the legendary George Pal, The War of the Worlds was a landmark cinematic event. It took H.G. Wells's 1898 novel of Victorian England under siege and transported it to Cold War-era California, tapping into the very real fears of sudden, overwhelming invasion and atomic annihilation. The film became the biggest science fiction hit of its year, winning an Academy Award for its groundbreaking special effects. It set the template for countless alien invasion films that followed. Do you remember the first time you saw those terrifying manta ray ships glide over the horizon? That chilling sound they made? Let us know in the comments below. Now let's begin our countdown. Number 10. The H.G. Wells Connection. Our story begins with the source material. H.G. Wells's estate was so incredibly pleased with George Pal's adaptation, even with the changes in time and location, that they gave him a remarkable offer: the film rights to any other H.G. Wells property he desired. Pal, a master of science fiction and fantasy, chose wisely. He picked The Time Machine, which he would turn into another undisputed classic in 1960. It was the ultimate seal of approval, a testament to how well the film captured the spirit of awe and terror from the original novel, even on a different continent and in a different century. Number 9. From Victorian England to Cold War California. Why move the story from London to Los Angeles? The decision was a stroke of genius that made the film resonate deeply with 1950s audiences. The world was gripped by the Cold War. The fear of a sudden, devastating attack from an unknown enemy, communism, symbolized by the Red Menace, was an everyday anxiety. The Martians, with their cold, emotionless efficiency and vastly superior technology, were a perfect stand-in for this existential threat. By placing the invasion in the heart of familiar suburban America, the film made the impossible feel terrifyingly plausible. The threat wasn't in a far-off land, it was in their backyard. Number 8. The iconic sounds of invasion. That sound. It's one of the most recognizable and unsettling sound effects in film history. The sizzling, screeching pulse of the Martian heat ray wasn't created by a complex synthesizer. It was the result of a brilliant and surprisingly simple piece of audio engineering. The sound team recorded 3 electric guitars playing in reverse. They then added reverb and feedback to create that unearthly layered effect. Similarly, the pulsating, cobra-like sound of the Martian war machines themselves was a combination of a slowed-down recording of a harp and distorted electronic noise. It was this innovative sound design that truly sold the terror of the unseen enemy. Number 7. The controversial pastor scene. One of the film's most debated scenes involves Pastor Matthew, who calmly walks towards the Martian war machine, Bible in hand, reciting Psalm 23, believing he can communicate with them through faith. He is, of course, instantly vaporized. Many have criticized this scene as a typical Hollywood stereotype of a naive, foolish religious figure. However, for producer George Pal, the scene had a much deeper meaning. Pal was a devout man, and his films often contained strong spiritual themes. The pastor's actions weren't meant to be seen as foolish, but as an ultimate act of faith, a belief that even in the face of annihilation, humanity and reason could prevail. His failure serves to establish just how alien and implacable the invaders truly are. They are beyond our comprehension, beyond our faith, beyond our reason. It powerfully establishes the stakes. Number 6. The Miniature Mayhem. The film's Oscar for Best Visual Effects was well-deserved. The team at Paramount Pictures, led by Gordon Jennings, were masters of their craft. The destruction of Los Angeles wasn't CGI. It was the painstaking result of blowing up incredibly detailed miniatures. The iconic LA City Hall, which has been featured in countless films and TV shows like The Adventures of Superman, was meticulously recreated in miniature form, only to be completely obliterated by Martian heat rays. The effects were so convincing that they held audiences spellbound. Every explosion, every collapsing building was a work of destructive art that set a new standard for Hollywood blockbusters. Number 5. The Martian You Barely See. One of the film's most effective tactics is how little it actually shows you the Martians. For most of the runtime, they are a terrifying, unseen presence inside their impenetrable machines. We only get 2 brief glimpses. First, the electronic eye probe, a creepy, technologically advanced scout, and finally, the quick shot of a Martian's 3-fingered hand touching Sylvia. It's only in the film's final moments that we see a dying Martian, and it's a fleeting, pathetic sight. This less is more approach was a deliberate choice. It allows the audience's imagination to run wild, to conjure up something far more terrifying than any man in a suit could ever be. The true horror wasn't the monster, it was the unknown. Number 4. George Pal's Divine Intervention. The film's ending, where the Martians are defeated not by human weapons, but by the smallest of God's creations, bacteria, is lifted directly from Wells's novel. However, George Pal added his own distinct layer of spiritual meaning. The film ends with our heroes finding refuge in a church, praying for a miracle as the world collapses outside. The narrator concludes, "By the tolling of 1,000,000,000 bells, man has earned his immunity, his right to survive among this planet's infinite organisms. And that right is ours against all challenges, for men both in wisdom and in numbers are the masters of this world." For Powell, the story was a powerful allegory. Humanity's technology and arrogance had failed, and it was only through humility and a force beyond our control, what he interpreted as God's will, that humanity was saved. It's a message of faith that he wove into the very fabric of his science fiction spectacle. Number 3. The stunt gone horribly wrong. Almost. Let's talk about the A-bomb. When the military decides to drop a nuclear bomb on the Martians, it's a moment of desperate, ultimate force. The secret required massive wind machines to simulate the blast wave. During one take, a truck is supposed to be blown over. As the stuntman inside jumps from the vehicle, a powerful gust of wind blows away the mattress that was placed on the ground to cushion his fall. He hits the hard ground instead. Miraculously, the stuntman was not seriously injured, but the shot remains in the film. It's a heart-stopping, unscripted moment of real danger that adds a layer of raw authenticity to the chaos on screen. Number 2. Designing the Manta Ray Killers. In the H.G. Wells novel, the Martian war machines are towering, 3-legged tripods. So why did the film feature these sleek, sinister, flying manta ray-shaped machines? The decision came down to a mix of artistic vision and practicality. The production designer, Al Nozaki, felt that tripods would look clumsy and awkward on screen in 1953. He wanted something that felt truly alien and graceful in its deadliness. His design, inspired by the shape of a manta ray with a cobra-like head for the heat ray, was pure nightmare fuel. It was smooth, aerodynamic, and utterly inhuman. It also solved a major technical problem. Making flying machines look convincing was far easier and more menacing with the available effects technology than animating clunky walking tripods. The design became so iconic that it has influenced alien spacecraft in countless films since. And now, the golden flicker moment. Number 1. The invisible wires. And finally, we come back to the film's most famous flaw, the visible wires. It's true, if you watch the movie on your TV today, the strings holding up the Martian war machines are often painfully obvious. But here is the secret. The film was originally shot and projected using a process called 3-strip Technicolor. This process involved combining 3 different strips of film, which resulted in incredibly rich, saturated colors, but it also produced a slightly softer image with less resolution than modern film. On the gigantic cinema screens of 1953, this softness, combined with the film's dark lighting, was just enough to naturally blur the fine wires, rendering them completely invisible to the naked eye. The filmmakers knew this and didn't spend extra money hiding what the audience would never see. The goof only appeared years later, in the 1960s, when the film was transferred to newer, sharper film stocks for television broadcasts and re-releases. And later, digital restorations made them even clearer. So, the flaw wasn't a mistake in production. It was an accidental consequence of technology getting better. The filmmakers pulled off a perfect illusion for their time. Do you agree that this is the golden flicker moment? From terrifying sounds made with guitars to Oscar-winning effects that were almost too good for their own good, The War of the Worlds remains a masterpiece of science fiction filmmaking. It's a time capsule of 1950s anxieties and a timeless tale of survival against impossible odds. If you discovered something new today, illuminate our day by clicking like and subscribe to Golden Flicker so you never miss another story from behind the scenes of Hollywood. What movie or actor do you want to see here in the next video? Let us know in the comments.